Imagine a world where the greatest honor you could bestow upon your enemy was to consume their flesh. This spine-chilling scenario, born from the deepest, most macabre corners of human imagination, is more than just a fanciful horror narrative. This was a tangible reality, a practiced ritual observed by numerous societies throughout history. An unorthodox, eerie tradition that takes us into the heart of darkness and deep into the annals of our past. As we delve deeper, we find ourselves drawn to the mystifying, yet somewhat unsettling practice of ritual cannibalism. Among those who were known practitioners of this eerie ritual were the Aztecs, a Mesoamerican civilization that thrived in central Mexico during the post-classic period from the 1300s to the 1500s. Now, the Aztecs were not merely participants in ritual cannibalism, they were notoriously renowned for it, making them infamous far and wide. Their entire belief system was firmly entrenched in the idea that the creation of the sun and earth were the fruits of the sacrificial god's self-immolation. This belief, deeply ingrained in their culture and philosophical outlook, led to human sacrifice becoming an integral, indispensable part of their societal and religious life. But the Aztecs didn't just stop at mere sacrifice. They took their religious convictions to extraordinary, extreme lengths. Ritual cannibalism, a practice that involved consuming the bodies of those sacrificed, became a significant part of their custom. In their eyes, this macabre act wasn't just about fulfilling a religious obligation or satiating some perverse hunger, but it was perceived as a means to ingest the life force, the spirit, the very essence of their war prisoners. By consuming the flesh and organs of their captives, they believed they could absorb their enemies' raw energy, their vitality, their vigor. The Aztecs had a unique perspective on this practice. To them, it wasn't deemed as horrific or morally repulsive. On the contrary, they regarded it as a significant spiritual ritual, a profound way to connect with the gods and the cosmos. They believed that by consuming their enemies, they were upholding the equilibrium of the cosmos, maintaining a balance in the universe. To the Aztecs, this was not a gratuitously gruesome act, but a deeply spiritual ritual intertwined with their cultural identity and religious beliefs. It was a way for them to interact with the divine, to ensure the continuity of the cosmos. The Aztecs saw this not as a gruesome act, but as a profound spiritual ritual, a way to keep the universe in balance. Similarly, the Iroquois tribes of North America practiced cannibalism for unique reasons. This was not a practice born out of necessity or survival, but rather a deeply rooted cultural belief that held significant importance. The tribes, spread across the vast landscapes of North America, were renowned for their fearlessness and strength in battle. These traits, however, were not just a result of their physical prowess or strategic thinking. The Iroquois believed in the spirit world and the continuous existence of the soul even after death. They thought that the spirits of their enemies could still pose a significant threat to them, even after their bodies had been vanquished. In order to neutralize this threat, the Iroquois adopted the practice of cannibalism. They believed that by consuming the flesh of their vanquished foes, they could absorb their strength and neutralize any threat they might pose in the afterlife. This practice, disturbing as it may seem to some, was seen as a necessary measure to ensure their survival and dominance. It was a practice deeply entrenched in their belief systems and traditions. The ritual of consumption was not taken lightly, but rather carried out with reverence and respect for the enemy. Through this, they thought they could ensure the total submission of their enemies, not just in this life, but also in the afterlife. Essentially, it was their way of guaranteeing absolute triumph. Across the Pacific Ocean, the four people of Papua New Guinea also partook in ritual cannibalism. This practice was deeply rooted in their societal traditions, which were unlike any other. It was not born out of necessity during times of war, nor did it stem from any mystic or religious beliefs, which often form the bedrock of such extreme practices in other cultures. Instead, it was a manifestation of their unique societal norms and traditions that challenged the conventional understanding of mourning and remembrance. Notably, the four people of this remote region had developed their own distinct approach to dealing with grief and loss. Their rituals, as strange as they might seem to outside observers, were in fact an expression of their deep respect for the departed and their desire to keep their memory alive. When a community member passed away, they did not simply commemorate the deceased with words and tearful prayers. Instead, they devised an intensely personal and arguably intimate ritual that sought to break the boundary between life and death. At the heart of this ritual was cannibalism, a practice by many as grotesque and inhumane. But for the Four People, it was an act of love, a testament to their belief in preserving the soul of the deceased within their community. When a loved one passed away, the Four People would consume their body, a starkly different form of mourning that was grounded in their desire to keep the spirit of their kin alive within their communal fabric. To them, it was a way of ensuring that the departed remained an integral part of their community, long after they had left the physical realm. When a loved one passed away, the Four People would consume their body to keep their spirit within the community. Yet the practice of cannibalism was not without consequences. As disturbing as it may sound, this gruesome ritual was indeed practiced, and its repercussions were devastating. It was a tradition embedded in their culture, a societal norm no one dared to question. However, little did they know they were dancing with death itself, consuming not just their enemies but also the seeds of their own destruction. The tribe fell prey to a virulent epidemic of kuru, a fatal, incurable disease transmitted through the consumption of human brain tissue. This rare and alarming neurodegenerative disorder wreaked havoc on the people, spreading like wildfire throughout the close-knit community. The infected were left to suffer from a slow, torturous deterioration of their mental and physical faculties until they succumbed to the inevitable, their demise. The disease manifested itself through initial symptoms of tremors and an unsteady gait, gradually evolving into the loss of bodily control, severe convulsions, and eventually leading to death. The mere mention of kuru struck terror in their hearts. It was an invisible enemy that turned their lives into a living nightmare. What once was a peaceful community was now a battlefield, where each day was a struggle for survival. Only when the ritual ceased did the disease eventually disappear from the community. But the scars left by this horrifying experience served as a stark reminder of the price they had to pay for their age-old tradition. Delving into the historical context of ritual cannibalism can be an uncomfortable journey. It forces us to look beyond the initial horror and repulsion and delve deep into the culture, traditions, and belief systems of ancient societies. Intriguing as it may be, these practices shed light on the intricate and complex structures and ideologies that governed these societies. Ritual cannibalism was not merely an act of savagery or mindless violence. It was a practice steeped in spiritual and societal significance. For civilizations like the Aztecs, it held profound religious connotations. It was a spiritual ritual, a medium to harness the power of adversaries, to assimilate their strength and valor. It was also seen as a means to maintain the cosmic equilibrium, to perpetuate the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The Iroquois, another tribe known for this practice, used it as a tool to ensure absolute victory, both in life and death. They believed consuming the flesh of their enemies not only symbolized triumph over them, but also allowed them to absorb their strength and prowess. For the Four People, cannibalism was not about power or victory. It was an expression of grief, a sign of respect and homage for the departed. They consumed the flesh of loved ones in an attempt to keep their memory alive, to make them a part of themselves even in death. Each society had its own reasons, its own interpretations of this grisly practice. Amidst its shocking nature, ritual cannibalism was woven into the cultural fabric of these societies, vividly depicting their distinct interpretations of life, death, and the cosmos. Despite its shocking nature, ritual cannibalism was deeply rooted in the cultural fabric of these societies, reflecting their unique perceptions of life, death, and the cosmos. So, the next time you hear the term cannibalism, remember, it's not just about the act. It's a term steeped in history, cultural nuances, and societal contexts. It's a manifestation of the human fascination with the morbid and the macabre, a stark reminder of the complexity of human behavior. When you hear this term, it's crucial to realize that it encapsulates more than just the act of consuming human flesh. It's about the historical timelines that have borne witness to such practices, the societies where it was considered an essential part of their rituals and ceremonies. It's about the intricate tapestry of human beliefs that influence such behaviors, the different interpretations of life, death, and the afterlife. It's about the warriors who consumed their enemies to absorb their strength, the tribes who ate their dead tribes, who ate their dead as a part of their mourning rituals, and the explorers who resorted to cannibalism for survival. Remember, it's also about the ever-evolving understanding of anthropologists and sociologists, their persistent endeavors to comprehend such extreme human behaviors. It's about the countless discussions, debates, and researches, the exploration of the darker recesses of human psyche. It's about the societal, psychological, and biological factors that led to such practices, the gradual progression of human understanding that helped us rise above such primitive behaviors. It acts as a reminder of our progress in comprehending our surroundings and understanding